Hello and welcome to round 6 of Grand Prix Albuquerque. I'm Brian David Marshall. I'm joined by Pro Tour Hall of Famer Randy Buehler, and we're watching another Pro Tour Hall of Famer, Brian Kibler, go up against Raja Burrows.
Yeah, this should be a pretty interesting matchup. I mean, Kibler's deck is definitely, something that the format has been moving to. If there's going to be a breakout deck this weekend, it's probably going to be green-black. He's mid-range, and this is where Kibler's really in his element. When he won Pro Tour Houston, he's reading the card. Is that Dimir Charm?
That is a Dimir Charm.
I guess Dimir Charm kills Elvish Mystic. So probably not the card Kibler was expecting there. But Kibler's deck is green-black. It's very much a mid-range deck. He's got creatures like a lot less Troll that are they can block against the aggro decks, they can attack against the control decks, and he thinks he's in this good sort of in-between mid-range spot.
There's a Night Veil Spectre for Raja.
And it has been so far so good. Abrupt Decay, definitely. Players trading removal spells. Cannot afford to let Night Veil Spectre.
I'm curious about what Raja's playing, whether he's playing
yeah, we're flying blind with no deck list.
Blue, white, or so is he playing
I mean,
blue devotion with black? This was a deck. Well, in fact, we just were tweeting. Marshall and I were just tweeting with someone about this. Oh, and there's
is that Gerald's?
No, that's Varal's the Scarstrike.
Varal's, that's what I meant. Sorry, I got confused by the Jareds and Conley's deck. So Varolz is 2/2, and he gives all the creatures in your graveyard
all the creatures
scavenge.
in your graveyard have scavenge equal to their converted mana cost, and you can sacrifice another creature to regenerate Varolz. He's a problem.
So yeah, Raja certainly looks like he's on blue devotion, touching enough black to get some removal into the deck.
Yeah, I mean this was that's a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. There we see another
Vasa, Night Veil Spectre.
Yeah.
I mean, Kibler probably wasn't expecting to lose his Elvish Mystic on turn 1 against this deck. That's not how the matchup normally goes.
Yeah,
but
he was expecting to have a turn 2 Varolz in play.
Certainly is a matchup that he's played. Bye-bye Master of Waves. And backup Thasa's not going to do much for Raja.
No plans to kill it anytime soon. Yeah,
and Brian's got another Abrupt Decay.
Onto Burrows.
All right, and he scavenges that long dead Elvish Mystic onto the Varolz and gets in for 4.
Crunch.
I'd be at 16.
It's a pretty good turn.
Yeah. I mean, Brian doesn't sound very excited about it, but there was a lot of action there.
Yeah, that was Thoughtseize away your Master of Waves, kill your Night Veil Spectre, scavenge, attack for 4.
Oh, and there's Claustrophobia.
Wow. So he's gone to the trouble of splashing black for removal, but still Claustrophobia.
And Claustrophobia was a deck we saw in Pro Tour Theros in like the Blue Danube, which was the Matej Zadelkai's team's deck. Yeah, that also got him into the top 8.
Certainly has seen plenty of play in the mono blue devotions. Maybe not the Dazani list or the Sand Black version, but it's nice to have a permanent in play. Creature removal, that also helps devotion. Pretty good.
Omen Speaker. Scry 2.
Kibler's got 1 card left. I think it was a land. So he's kind of both players are kind of out of gas. I mean, their draws have essentially canceled each other out. Oh, Scavenging Ooze off the top. A fine draw.
Legacy staple.
Yeah, and I mean, Kibler staple, really.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, it is, I mean, I've seen him use that as sort of the defining card for how he thinks about mid-range, right? It can block against the aggro deck, and it can attack against the control deck, right? It's exactly the kind of card that he likes to build these decks around.
Night Veil Spectre? Take Thassa and block him.
Okay.
Night Veil Spectre turns on Thassa. And she hits kind of hard.
I will eat all 3 of your creatures.
Awesome.
So I go to 16.
Brian gets 3 counters on the Scavenging Ooze. Gains 3 life. Can almost block Thassa. 1 more.
Only if Thassa allows herself to be blocked. Thinking about attacking.
I mean, what else is he going to do? Like you say, he's not going to get to block. Raja is trying to decide whether he wants to chump block. Is Omen Speaker more valuable or 5 life more valuable? It seems like 5th Devotion is pretty valuable. This turns off Thassa for now, right?
But he knows.
Oh, Claustrophobia. Never mind.
Yeah.
Does not turn off Thassa. And there's Lot Left Troll. So 2-1, Brian can discard creatures to make it bigger, and it regenerates itself. Unblockable Thassa. Can Brian race Thassa here? He's got 5, 6, 7, 8 power. Might actually be able to race here.
Well, I mean, also, again...
Nightveil Spectre may have something to say about
yes,
that.
I was going to say Nightveil Spectre, and we also just can get him some extra cards here.
I'll get 4 blue now.
I'm sure Raja's Black Splash picks Frostburn weird.
Let's see.
Pointed the Thassa as if he was turning it on.
Yeah,
he may have also missed the
he had
Claustrophobia.
to nick those Shrine to Nyx there.
I do it in that way. And then I
Didn't want that anyway.
Great.
What, is it a land that got flipped
Yeah,
to
it
the
does
top
look
of the
like a
screen?
land.
I will eat your Owen Speaker.
Brian needs an Omen Speaker.
Just keeps doing what it does. But the Nykthos, that Frostborn Weird is a lot of damage.
Yeah, and everybody can be unblockable too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does not look like a game Brian can race.
Yeah, you can get in for 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you can get in for 11 next turn. Unblockable.
Brian sends in just the Scavenging Ooze.
I have no more.
Why would you block? You're just going to make the Scavenging Ooze bigger, right?
Right. Yeah, this looks like Raja, if he just makes everybody unblockable, he should just win here, right? There are no creatures for Scavenging Ooze to eat. I mean, Brian could
He
surprise
needs-
discard one with the
Yeah.
troll, but
He needs 9 mana to do that, and I think he has more than enough.
3, 4, 5, 6. He gets 8 from Nykthos.
Yeah.
Brian was able to kill 2 Nightveil Spectres, but it really feels like that third Nightveil Spectre was
That's the one that always gets you.
the third one. Yeah. I mean, he got rid of a Master of Waves and 2 Nightveils, but the third one. I mean, Thassa helped set that up, obviously, with the Scribe. But yeah, this mono blue deck is not going away. It feels like this is going to be a fixture in Standard for
Yep.
quite some time.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. Doesn't it feel like the cyclical nature of metagames, like almost like the deck should be poised to like have a dominant tournament?
Maybe. Have another dominant tournament after the Pro Tour, you mean?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, you know, like people just sort of they really gear up to beat it. You know, maybe people take it for granted a little bit.
Wow.
See,
Might as well draw all 4.
Take that one off me.
yeah. So Raj is clearly thinking about the fact that you know he can sacrifice creatures to Varls here, and put some fodder into his graveyard to get out of reach
Of an all-in right
of
here.
an all-in attack. Yeah.
And Raja's at 9, so he's got a little worried about the lethal crackback. All right, so he does not attack for lethal, right? He attacks for 7. Yep. Doesn't want Brian to gain life. And Brian can get creatures into the graveyard with Varls. Now what? 2 blockers. That's well played by Raja.
Raj is a seasoned PTQ veteran.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, it would have been really easy to just go all in there. Now what? What does Brian have?
I mean, really, he's like almost at that point where he's just looking for another turn, right? You know what I mean? Like you're just like, how do I not die this turn? How do
Well,
I?
I mean, blocking. He doesn't get to block. That makes things tricky. Right, Raja has essentially as many unblockable creatures as he wants.
He's looking for some enchantment, some instant nobody plays that lets him exile a enchantment. All right, so he's. Oh wait,
Discards the lot left. What is that? Dreadmangler?
that's Dreadmangler. Yeah.
Okay, which gives him Scavenge. So he's going to try to make an army that forces a block out of Raja. Yeah, so scavenges the Dreadmangler onto the Lotless Troll so that he can attack with it as a 6/5. So a pair of 6 power dudes coming over. Raja is obliged to block 1. Probably ought to block the Scavenging Ooze because I think Veryl's shenanigans could get 3 creatures into the graveyard, maybe?
Right, so he can get himself up to 5 here.
Yeah, I mean, Brian is essentially hoping he can get a misplay. I mean, I think he wants Scavenging Ooze to get through. The deck has... He has Boon Satyr in the deck?
They do play Boon Satyr.
Yeah, they do. So, I mean, that's the other surprise damage. And he does have 5 mana. Oh, actually, so both creatures are potentially lethal because of Boon Satyr. If that's the last card in Brian's deck. In hand, but I don't think it is. Still, if you're Raja, you just... Did he block?
No, he
I
only
didn't
blocked
hear.
1.
Okay.
He just blocked with Frostbone Weird.
He blocked the... Yeah, he blocked the
He blocked the
Scavenging Ooze.
Scavenging Ooze, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He used to get deck selection here. Thassa gets the Scry every up, keeps it. Disheartening.
Wow. Backup plan. And I'll make some guys unblockable.
How many guys did he make there?
Yeah, Brian scoops him up.
How do I not get blown out by another?
You hear Raja saying, how do I not get blown out by another Abrupt Decay?
Nah. All right, so game 1 to Raja Burrows. Kibler will head to the sideboard, where he will find Mistcutter Hydras and Golgari, possibly Golgari Charms?
And Golgari Charm's really
Yeah.
nice in this matchup.
Doomblades. Oh, and an ultimate price.
Oh,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Pelucranos.
He could just bring in his whole
he
sideboard.
could bring in all 15. I doubt that's the plan, but like they're all playable in this matchup for sure. Wow, how do you sideboard here? Thoughtseize probably comes out.
Yeah, and I think the Golgari Charms are certainly the first cards into the deck.
Ahead of Mistcutter Hydra?
Maybe not.
Okay. I mean, fourth.
Although the Mistcutter Hydra's a little worse against this version of the deck, which
Oh, he's got black mana.
Which is
Yeah,
which
he
is
did
black
show-
mana. So he's you have to assume there's some ultimate price or some Doomblade or
Yeah, all we actually saw was Dimir Charm,
yeah. All we saw was Dimir Charm.
and we don't have the, we don't have the deck
we're
list,
still
so-
flying blind on the deck list here.
Yeah, probably some of Kibler's fat comes out.
Yeah, let's take a look at Brian Kibler. 17th in the world right now in the top 25 pro rankings. He's a platinum pro, and he's pretty much been that every year since he's returned to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really returned to the Pro Tour. You see that Magic Pro Tour Hall of Fame logo there.
Absolutely.
That is what compelled him to come back. He was like, wait, you're saying my career was not good enough for the Hall of Fame? I'm not in the discussion for the Hall of Fame? I
know
will
how to fix
destroy the
that.
Pro Tour.
I know how to fix that. Time for a comeback.
Yeah, came back, got into the top 8, came back, won one. He's
Yep.
won 2 Pro Tours since he's been back.
Yep.
And it's just, we joked about the idea of the Kibler deck being an archetype. But, I mean, he's, he writes about a deck or is seen playing a deck, it quickly ripples through the metagame.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, clearly established himself as just one of the greats.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like
I mean, both as a deck builder and a player.
On every single axis of the game. Do you know what I mean? Like as
Deck
a
builder,
deck
player,
builder,
writer.
content creator, yeah.
No, it's a true story. Absolutely true.
And now you're looking like, wow, why wasn't he in the Hall? You know, I mean, he didn't have the resume at the time.
No,
but
he needed to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the year he was elected, it was borderline. I mean, he got in by not a ton. He wasn't the highest vote getter that year. I mean, if he hadn't got in then, it would have been just a blowout. It was like a year into his comeback. It was like, well, has he done enough yet? Yeah, probably. It just kept going, for sure.
And then you see another Pro Tour Hall of Famer off to the left of Brian Kibler in William Jensen, who's, also, done pretty okay for himself since starting to play Magic on a,
the comeback.
regular basis.
Also made the comeback, also inspired by the Hall of Fame, also put up the results he needed to get in.
Yeah. He won Grand Prix Oakland, has been dominant on the Open Series.
Indeed.
Just seemingly at will.
Like Kibler, has swamps in his deck, but Huey didn't want to clutter it up with any other colors.
Yeah, he's mono black devotion.
Right. A lot of the pros this week are I mean, they're kind of, there's a bunch of green black, there's a bunch of mono black, there's some Esper, like they all have swamps.
Yeah.
What else you go is up for debate. None of them have mountains.
I'm curious to see how that deck does against Andrew Smith, Billy's competitor, who's playing Dragon Mantle.
Nice.
At, I believe, 5-0,
Wow.
by the way.
Yes.
So, Rakdos Cackler and Legion Loyalist. So this is a deck similar to something that's been posited online by Tom Ross.
Sure.
Or who's apparently playing fewer lands in this. This is like a 19 land version. This is very land heavy
There you
compared
go.
to some versions. But red deck wins always a. It earned that name for a reason. Players drop their opening 7. I see a
Miscutter Hydras definitely came in.
Yeah, and I
There's one
see
in his hand.
a turn 3 Pelucrinus for. Oh, it is. There's no Elvish Mystic.
There's a Golgari Charm. I'm not sure there's black mana. Yeah,
No.
Thought sees Golgari Charm, no black mana.
That's a slow start for both players.
There's
There it
the
is.
swamp. Time for Thoughtseize, right?
I thought he was scooping for a second there. Shows him a Frostborn Weird, a Dimir Charm, a Thassa, a Night Veil Spectre, and a Master of Waves. 2 lands that are inviolate here.
Right, so he's got all the mana to cast everything. Now it's just a question of which things can your hand answer.
Right.
I mean, the Golgari Charm in his hand answers Master of Waves, so that's not the pick.
Right.
It's either Thassa or Night Veil
Yeah.
Spectre.
I think you just don't want to see that Night Veil Spectre.
That sounds
Yeah.
right. Let him scry, but don't let him
Yeah.
hit you.
It's like. He's like, oh, do you want to write these down? He's like, oh, no, I remember what they are. I just need to remember what Dimir Charm does.
Right.
But, oh, look, another Night Veil Spectre waiting right on top of the deck.
Oh, here's Pelucrinus.
And Night Veil Spectre starts nibbling away.
Hits. Oh, Forest.
Oh, thank you.
A good one.
You really want to play that land because if you hit any green cards
Yeah, of course.
later on. There is
Thassa.
Thassa.
Decided he needed Mutavault in play more than he needed Forest in play. Now what? Miscutter Hydra? And race, essentially?
I mean, he can miscut a Hydra for 4, attack for 9 here.
Right.
And that's what he does.
There is a Mutavault in play, so Raja's got at least one chump block on Miscutter available. Yeah, take 9. Lassa still lets.
Is there
lets him
another?
scry.
Is there another miscutter? Yeah, there is.
Wow. That's
This is exactly how they drew miscutter Hydra up in the R&D locker room.
indeed. Here comes Master of Waves. We saw it with the Thoughtseize.
Yep.
Makes sense. I mean, that'll deal.
That's going to make 5 tokens.
Right. So he's presumably going to attack with Night Veil Spectre. Golgari Charm does insane work here.
Yes. No, it's actually ridiculous.
Golgari Charm is essentially Wrath of God. Well, at least it gets all the untapped creatures. And he tapped the Mutavault, so can he Golgari Charm and Mistcutter into lethal? 9, I think he can.
Well, he's going to -1/-1 his own guys as well here.
Oh,
so.
right. That's why it's not lethal. It's pretty close, though.
But he can play the Mistcutter Hydra after the Golgari Charm, so
Right.
he won't affect that one. He's also got a Boon Satyr in hand. He's
Pelucranos
just gonna fight.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So Pelucranos goes monstrous. He deals the damage to the Master of Waves. Is
Yeah.
that lethal? 5, 6, 7, 9. Yeah, that's 11. Awesome. So Pelucranos goes monstrous, takes out Master of Waves, thus clearing a path for him and Mistcutter Hydra.
One of my favorite childhood myths.
Pelucranos?
Yeah, Pelucranos defeating the Master of Waves.
It's one we'll be telling our grandkids about, maybe. It's not going away. It's going to get told a lot of times in the next year or two.
Yeah, a little, fine-tuning. Like, oh, okay, that's how that goes after sideboard. Okay, let me fine-tune. Just a reminder, you can watch next week Grand Prix Vienna. It's going to be more standard action. The European coverage team will be working that event November 30th through December 1st. You can watch all the action live at twitch.tv/magic, and of course at dailymtg.com. So it'll be interesting to watch players iterate on what happens this week in standard and, then react to that next week.
Yeah, there's certainly been some standards in the past where, you get 6 weeks after the big set's release and it's kind of stale and there's just this deck or play anti that. Not this one.
Yeah.
This one, it's, Mono Blue wins the Pro Tour. It's the real deal, but Orzhov vanishes. Okay, Mono Black shows up. You've got Esper floating around.
Cards like Golgari Charm and Drowned in Filth find their way out of the woodwork.
Yeah, it feels like there's still room. There's definitely still room to innovate.
It's kind of like one of those things where you find cards that have things written on the other side of them. Drown in Filth that say something on the card back because someone proxied on them for a playtest session for the Pro Tour.
I did see Conley take to Twitter to try to find them. Turns out none of the dealers had them in stock.
They didn't think to bring them.
I don't see how Conley shows up to a Pro Tour. Surely this has happened to him before. He shows up for a Pro Tour and the dealers don't have the obscure comment from last year that he wants.
He should just not bring the staple cards.
Just bring everything else.
Right. Just a play set of every kind of, discarded card, common and uncommon. You can always find the rares, right? Sometimes you can't find those commons and uncommons.
Does one of these green black decks look better to you than the other one?
Boy, I mean, Conley's deck looks better to me in the sense that that is what I want to be doing when I'm playing Magic. But it does not seem as clean out of the gates as this deck does.
Fair.
Do you know what I mean? This deck begins enacting its plan, on turn 2,
Right.
and is really just suited to not get run over, and I think can cope really well with the control decks too.
You know what this deck really wants? It wants a Scryland. Golgari Guildgate is in this deck right now.
Right.
Brian couldn't bring himself to play all 4. There's 3 Golgari Guildgates.
Yeah.
He so desperately wants a Scryland in this deck.
Couldn't bring himself to bring a Temple of Deceit in just for Scry. And we saw that at the Pro Tour. We saw some people playing like the Black-White Temple in their red-black deck just to get a Scry.
Yeah, the Mono Black Devotions will run Scrylands, off-color Scrylands.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2-color, you need the fixing. I mean, I think the key, there's a lot of good, I mean, some people I think were building green-black with too many one-drops. Like, there's so many, you kind of want to come out of the gates fast, but you can't play a two-color deck that plays a bunch of one-drops in this format because all your lands come into play tapped.
Right.
I mean, 4 Elvish Mystic, 4 Thoughtseize. Kibler's still got 8 hanging out, but really the deck is 2s and 3s. And then we haven't seen the, I mean, the real signature 4-drop, which is Reaper of the Wilds. I mean, 4 Reaper of the Wilds.
Yeah, that card just... That card has destroyed more than one draft for me. Oh my gosh, this card's too powerful. I have to take it and try to play it now. No!
That's what
Quick
Nylea's
mulligan
Presence
for
is
Raja.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a high correlation between the two of both cards being in the same deck.
Is there only one land in Kibler's draw?
That certainly looks like one. No, it looks like 2. It looks like it's too fast. Yeah, it looks like a full art Zendikar swamp.
Got it.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We'll see. Well, it's a super sketchy keep if it's only one, so I'll go with your story.
People on Twitter asking if Brian Kibler flicks his cards like that as a mind game or as a way to like put his opponents off their game, like to like somehow distract them. But it's not. It's just like that is just like a reflection.
The nervous energy.
Of also like I think his inner dream, like mindscape. You know what I mean? It's just like thinking, and just like nervous energy and
fast twitch neurons.
Yeah, he's just, you know, he sees it in slow motion when he's doing it.
Like bullet time.
Yeah, he's reading the flavor text on those cards as they go by.
All right, Raja's gonna keep 6.
No early action from either player so far, but there's a
There's the
lot
troll.
with Troll. And
Night
that
Veil
is
Spectre.
the Night Veil Spectre. So
You clearly attack into it here, right?
oh, absolutely.
He's got plenty of creatures to discard, so if called upon.
When we watched Josh Utter-Layton playing this earlier, he was pretty willing to, you know, send his guys in. He can also regenerate with Golgari Charm, right?
Well, he has a swamp he can tap to regenerate.
Oh yeah.
Another troll. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see a third land. But 2 trolls is plenty good. I mean, it's interesting. I've been characterizing this mono blue deck as a beatdown deck, but Kibler's playing against it like it's control. Right? He's coming out with, he's trying to make threats, he's trying to race.
Oh, look at this. The Night Veil Spectre reveals a Thoughtseize off of Kibler's deck.
And he's already got a blue-black land in play.
Yep.
Wow.
Like I will Thoughtseize you.
That is
Slow those
definitely-
cards down so I can read them.
Definitely one of the advantages of splashing black in the blue devotion deck.
Yeah.
Splashing anything, really. Night Veil Spectre gets better. Brian's thinking about whether to respond.
Yes.
Could have responded by discarding creatures. Chooses
You see a
not to.
Boon Satyr, 2 Mistborn Hydra,
A Golgari Charm.
Mistborn Cutters. Yeah.
And what's the other card?
And
It
I
is
believe it's a Scavenging Ooze.
Got it. Interesting. So depending on Raja's hand, he might care about Golgari Charm or he might not and just take Scavenging Ooze. I mean, Golgari Charm's either good against his hand or bad, right?
Yes.
And that... He took Boon Satyr?
Looks like he took Boon Satyr, yeah.
Interesting. I guess that takes away lands, enchant, hit you for 9.
Now Raja Burrows gets to play with his own cards. And there is Thassa.
Thassa.
1 pip away from being live.
Yep. Brian drew a land. Now, what's the play? 2 power Hydra apparently is the play. 2/4/7. Discard maybe to hit him for an 8th.
He's
I might
thinking
discard
about it.
Scavenging Ooze here.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. 3, 6, 8.
Roush's not in a great spot here. He's at 7.
Yeah, no, Brian's just, he's played this game to race. He's like, you were the control deck.
And Master of Waves is not going to save you here.
No, Golgari
Because we
Charm.
know the Golgari Charm, exactly.
Game 3, so 6-0 would feel a lot better than 5-1 for either of these guys. 2 Mutavaults does give them the ability to block the Hydra. But that's a losing fight. Yeah, he leaves everybody home. And he does not have Devotion for Thassa.
Right, and by everybody, we just basically mean Nightfell Spectre and a couple of Mutavaults here.
Right.
Because, yeah.
All right. Brian, yeah, attack.
Activate a Mutavault. Activate another Mutavault.
Wow, there are no great blocks here.
You double block the Hydra.
I guess, and then
Oh, no, the Hydra's only a 2/2. I keep thinking of those as count. Right. So you can just single block the Hydra. And
I mean, yeah.
then just force something to happen with.
I mean, the fact that the trolls regenerate is, I guess he's just gonna essentially make Brian spend his turn regenerating his guys.
Is he going to Golgari Charm regenerate his team? Yeah.
Golgari Charm regenerate the team.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good, says Roger Burrows.
So let me get this right. All of my guys die and none of your guys die? Is that what's happening?
Let's do it.
Interesting.
You pick 2, all your guys die.
Yeah. All of your guys die, none of yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Roger's at 5. Scries, is this the card that will save him? No.
Wow, there's the handshake. So Brian Kibler, 2-1, gets it done.
Yeah, makes very, very. That's a pretty compelling case for the green black deck.